All right. So we're looking at the all 22, and it's bad. They
It's
scored
bad.
6 points. It's embarrassing that they scored no touchdowns in 2 games against the Seahawks. And when you watch the tape, you see receivers not getting open. You see Brock Purdy having no time to throw, and you see no run game. So if you could pinpoint the number one thing the Niners have to give Brock Purdy this offseason to help him be as successful as possible, what would that one thing be?
Interior offensive line, because I was talking to some of the Seattle people who are really close to McDonald and some of the people that some of the media people up there that are really connected to McDonald, and supposedly he was telling people off the record after the game that they had a real basic plan. It was like, hey, let's just take away Brock's first read on every play, make him survey the field, and then their offensive line won't be able to hold up. And sure
That's
enough, it
so
happened.
interesting.
So Brendel, goodbye. I know he's in the last year of his deal. I'm going to move him on 1 year early. And I think Burford is probably going to get a deal that is going to shock people. I think Burford's going to get because he's got a good body. He's basically healthy. There's a,
Hopefully not from the Niners.
not from the Niners. I think the Niners will not give him that, but I think somebody's
Good.
going to offer him a Jalen Moore type
Sure.
contract. And he's going to wind now, not a Jalen Moore deal because he's a tackle and this guy's a guard. But I do think Burford's going to price himself out. So I think you said one guy, I'll give you two, left guard and center. They have to upgrade the interior of their offensive line. I think it's absolutely essential. Tyler Linderbaum would be a really, really, the Niners used to spend big money for centers. They did for Weston Richburg. They did for Alex Mack. And then Brendel allowed them to do it cheaper and they leaned into it, but it's over. They can't do that anymore. And to me, there's a couple guys in this draft. Keelan Rutledge from Georgia Tech, just a brawler, and he's fantastic. And then the big kid from Penn State, Olavavega Ione, who's like 6'3", 350. They got to get a mauler up front. You cannot give away the A gap and the entire interior to Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams and expect to compete. If you can't run the ball for a yard up the middle, it's game over. So, to me, it starts right there. You gotta improve the interior of the O-line.
Yeah, it's so critical for Brock because to me, what makes Brock so interesting and what makes Brock is that he really will try to execute Kyle Shanahan's scheme like to the letter. Like if Kyle wants him to do a full field progression, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the right to the left, then that's what Brock's going to do. And I don't understand how you could really expect any quarterback to execute that with this offensive line. When he has time, when he goes up against a defense that's not that great and doesn't have a great pass rush, he looks like the best quarterback in the freaking world. He can survey the whole field. He's not just taking 6 and 7 yards. He's getting 15 and 20 yards and scoring touchdowns. He's great. But against Seattle, he never has time. And if the first read isn't open, he's not just going to reflexively check it down. He's going to go to the second read and the third read and the fourth read. And usually you got to watch Kurt Warner's breakdown of the Niners offense that came out last week. Usually the check down is the fifth read in the progression, which is not fair. And I feel like with Jimmy and maybe with Mac, those are guys who were from New England who were never coached that way. And I think they get to their check down a lot quicker and helps them have a quick passing game. That's not who Brock Purdy is. It's not who he wants to be. If you want Brock to be Brock and hold the ball and get big plays, then give him a freaking offensive line. I think he needs that way more than he needs, Drake London.
I mean, he's kind of proven that he can kind of do it with Tonjes and he can kind of do it with guys that aren't great at receiver, but you can't fake that line anymore. I mean, that Stafford Rams Seattle game, I mean, Stafford did survey the field and then he would hold it. And then a couple times he just dumped it in the flat to Kyron Williams as his safety valve, as the last option safety valve. And I'd like to see Christian in that role, but you got to give Brock, you got to build for Brock what Jalen Hurts had a year ago in Philly, a big, powerful line where you can run the ball and they can move people. And it's not, you got to build that fortress around Brock. He needs more dynamic weapons, but before that, you have to get him a big, strong guard and center to go with him. I heard Papa kind of saying negative things today about Pooney. I kind of wonder if somebody with the Niners kind of spilled that to him, like, hey, because Pooney's lack of strength in the last this year at times was like kind of startling. I mean, he just got absolutely worked a couple times. Philadelphia just mauled him. There were a couple other teams that just absolutely kind of rolled him back on roller skates. So, I mean, I'm expecting him to be the one interior guy that stays. I mean, he's better than Burford and better than Brendel. So if Pooney's not good enough, then you're really naked inside. So I mean, they've got to figure out. They got to have two big bodyguards inside with some heft who can open run lanes and stop the bull rush.
I mean, you heard it straight from Larry. Kyle, the Seahawks are shutting you down because they understand your offense, your tendencies. They feel they can take away the first read, and that your offensive line isn't good enough to give
Hold
Brock
up.
Purdy time to get through the rest. I mean, that it's as simple as that. So there's only one way to counteract that, and that's with a new left guard, a new center. I don't think they need a new right guard. I like Pooney, but they might. I mean, they might need to draft someone to compete with them. And I know they extended Colton McKivitz, but he's nothing more than average at right tackle. He's okay.
Right. I mean, Colton had tackles are hard to get, right? I mean, really hard to get. If you're going to invest in a tackle, you're probably going to have to for sure do it in the first round. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it, but I think this is the year that you have so many other needs, and you've got Colton and Trent. I would definitely go for a tackle in this draft. My favorite tackle, Grant, there's a kid in this draft named J.C. Davis who went to McClymonds, and then he went to, I think, DVC, and then transferred to Illinois. And he's a terrific athlete. He's tough as hell, long arms. J.C. Davis from McClymonds. He's projected like 4th, 5th round. He's going to be a mid-round guy. He almost came out last year, decided to go back to Illinois. Illinois has got a really good O-line coach. He's well coached. He's tough. That's the guy I like as a day 3 tackle.